Start with questions for student athletes. Raise your hand. We'll get started. Anybody want to go first? Go ahead.
Darren, obviously, great game, 21 points. You kind of showed versatility in your bag, right? Some fadeaway jumpers, obviously great at getting to the line. What's kind of your mindset knowing, right, obviously a tough loss, game's getting out of hand, coming back from injury. What was your mindset going into the game and continuing to attack knowing you're kind of shaking off some rust and not a super competitive environment?
My mindset was just to come out and help my team get a win. Knowing our circumstances and where we are now, that was my main thing, to do whatever I need to do to get us a win. And we came short of that, but I think we had a lot of fight in the second half. Dug ourselves in a hole the first half that was hard to get out of. But I tell them all the time with the guys in the locker room, I go to war with them any day of the week. And it felt good to be back out there with them and playing with them. And looking forward to try to go get a win Saturday. That's the next goal, next thing. So not the outcome we wanted, but I'm happy with the way we fought in the second half. And a lot of young guys, but I really believe in them, so it felt good to be back out there with them.
Anything you would pinpoint defensively in the first half that kind of led things astray tonight?
I would say, we had a couple of lapses like guarding the pick and roll and things like that where we didn't communicate as well as we should have, and it's just a learning moment for us. Heading to the next Saturday's game, like June said. So just learn from that.
Darren, you've been kind of banged up the past few weeks. Can you sort of just give an update on how you're feeling and sort of what exactly you have been dealing with?
I'm feeling good now. Spent the last 2 games doing a lot of rehab for my lower body, and that's been going well. After the game Saturday, got back, got some rehab in that night, and I've been feeling well. Practiced the other day and the day Sunday and Monday, leading to the game, and I told Coach Caputo I'll be ready to go game time. So I'm feeling a lot better. Not quite all the way there, but I feel good enough to play at a high level. So.
Feeling good right now?
Yeah.
I'm sure it's been a tough season, especially as of late, but with it being both of your guys' first years here and only having one more home game, I wanted to ask if you can reflect on the season you've had, what you've learned, and going into next year, what you hope to change.
Season ain't over, first of all, so we just trying to keep our minds focused on this season still. But what I learned is just, being in the fight, being in these dogfights in the A-10, which is a great conference. Every game is come down to, the last possession. So just learning the importance of every possession, especially my position, being a point guard, and also just bring out some more leadership qualities out of me. So that's some things I learned personally.
Great. Other one.
You play kind of minute 1 through the end of the game really hard. You guys were in a hole, and through that last minute in the fourth quarter, you guys were fighting, taking timeouts, using the momentum you got. Can you talk about that mentality in the locker room and around this team and how you guys kind of always keep trying to fight?
I think all of us kind of have a will to win, but we just fall short at times, the last 11. But I think it plays more of a part with us being real cool off the court. So we're able to lock back in and, create a new mindset for us heading into the next game. So I think everybody, like each other. We all, get along well. And then it just helps us, keep going, think next game mentality. And that's kind of where we are now, just trying to get ready for LaSalle.
Yeah, obviously the losing streak is the narrative, but anything can happen in the tournament. This team has shown they have the ability to beat high-level A-10 opponents in the past, last season, early this season. What's kind of the mindset within the locker room knowing that this team has the talent to do something and things just aren't clicking right now? What are you being told in practice and huddles?
We just been told to just keep fighting. Just keep fighting. It's college basketball. You never know what can happen. And for me, I just want to send the seniors out the right way. James Bishop probably going to go down in the history books here at GW. I tell him all the time, we were playing with a legend. So why not try to send him out the right way? People kind of deemed him as a loser pretty much his whole college career. And coming in, I told him, I'm coming here to play, alongside you. I want to help you, win. So that's sending them older guys out the right way. I think us younger guys, that's what we kind of think about a lot. us, well, especially me, just trying to get them something to reflect on and about their college career. Like Stretch coming from Auburn, not really playing as much, and now he's like making an impact here at this level. So just sending those guys out the right way and locking in by the time we head up to Brooklyn for the A10 tournament. So.
One more? Yep.
Chikoy, you've been in the starting lineup playing big minutes the last few games. What do you think, you've learned the most as a result of playing, big minutes down the stretch in conference play?
I feel like all season the coaches have been prepared, but just like, what I'm saying, anything can happen. Always be ready to play, ready to step up. So I was fortunate to be able to step up and just do whatever I got to do whatever I got to do to get the team a win. And so I think I learned some good leadership qualities, good, playing point guard, being able to get my teammates involved. Like I said, playing in the A10 at a high level, just learning the game and getting a lot of experience.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, sure. All right, we'll start with an opening statement, then open up for questions.
Yeah, we'll give UMass credit. They're so physical, which is what you would expect, from Frank's teams. I think Coach Matt Cross at Miami. He's a tough kid. Cohen, I've kind of followed him a little bit last year. It's such a great year at St. Francis. Really talented offensive player. And then I think Diggins he's got to be the most improved player in the league maybe there's somebody else I'm not thinking of, but he really has made a big jump. Again, I thought our guys, it's funny, we've played two pretty good halves against them, the first half up there, the second half here. I was happy with the way we continued to compete, even though, we dug ourselves quite the hole. I thought we got great shots that we just missed, one of whatever it was, 17 or something in the first half. You're not going to win many games like that, especially our team. But it was good to have Darren back. I think he's one of the best. He's not just one of the best young players in the league. He's probably one of the best players in the league, to be honest. Excited about his performance. Our freshman, some very good minutes. Jacoy, again, continues to play well. He's getting thrust into a lot of opportunity. And then I thought Trey gave us good minutes as well. So disappointing, but I'm we're not playing the score. We're just trying to play the game right now, and I think that's my biggest challenge. Defense, we did shoot around today. You'd probably say this is why we missed all the threes, but we've been guarding so poorly. We decided to defend for 40 minutes live, and while it was in man, and that our man-to-man was not great today, the zone was very good. So actually our best defensive points per possession since Mason the first game, believe it or not. So I was happy with their lock-in, their connectivity defensively, although, again, it was more in the zone than man. But second half, thought we got good looks, 55%, 45 from three, so a better second half offensively. Got to be able to put two together here to get off the schneid.
They don't hit a ton of threes, but
yeah,
they come out and hit 6 in the first half, especially in comparison to you guys.
It's a little bit us. We're a little bit small, across the board, and some of those contests, they're just, and this is where we have to improve as we continue to get a little bit older and bigger across the board at the guard position, at the forward position, what have you. Obviously, having Garrett out is another bigger guy that would be playing a lot of minutes, but our contests, we've got to be able to. I'll have to watch them to see if many were open. There were a couple mistakes, but I think again, our overall length has to improve, and just sometimes just a little bit of that can make guys miss. They're just a little too open.
When you talk about playing the game and not the score and whatnot, I got to imagine that's tied into just trying to figure out how to navigate a season in a situation like this. Is that maybe as big a challenge as you faced over the last couple of years, just trying to figure out,
Yeah.
all right, this has happened, this has happened, this has happened.
Yeah, I mean, certainly, again, like if you go back to 11 games ago, that wasn't the case. We're, feeling like, hey, we got some good things going. We're playing very well. It's turned into something different. Quite honestly, it's turned into what it normally turns into for people who take over new jobs. I mean, it happened for UMass. It happened for Loyola. If we look at us between January 1 of 23, okay, we played on New Year's Eve at Loyola Chicago. And then like January 16th, we're like 24, I think 24 and 11. So like, that's a little bit different in terms of where we were at that point than maybe what was expected. And now we were probably a little bit ahead of schedule with our young crew, third most minutes, third most points of anybody in the country coming from freshmen. We're probably like where we maybe should be, that we're trying to get better, and those guys are getting better. And how do you get better to the point where you don't just perform well, but that you can play winning basketball?
I know you touched on this earlier, but the team struggled a lot, 3-point shooting, 1 for 17 in the first half, better in the second. What do you think went into the...
Probably shooting luck, to be honest. I mean, shooting variance, we call it. Like, it just, you can look at those shots in the first half, and I would guess when we go back and watch that tape, they were we call them paint to great, right? Paint to great threes from guys who can pretty much make them. Not every one of them. Maybe we probably could pick one or two out that we didn't like, but I'd say a good number of those were ones that were paint to great, and that's so we call shooting variance, And we've made a bunch in the last two games, so maybe this is, water finds its level.
In January, you guys didn't face up against Matt Cross. He had a big game tonight.
Yeah.
Can you just talk about the added size and physicality that he brings along?
I know him well. I recruited him to Miami. So, Matt's a very tough competitor, physically tough guy. Like, he could be a football player. He could be an Army Ranger. He could be like a guy he's very tough. He's a good passer. Plays with great force and physicality. You really got to match his physicality. And, we have that, somebody like that in Darren at times, but it's hard when you get a switch or the wrong defender on him. He can, his reputation coming out of high school was that of a three-point shooter, and he can make a three. But what he really has become is just such a downhill, aggressive, attacking guy and a good rebounder.
Obviously, you've talked a lot in these press conferences about like third most minutes, third most points.
Yeah.
It's a young team going through a really rough skid of a recently good basketball that isn't turning into results.
Yeah.
How do you kind of keep the heads up of Buchanan, Jacoy, these guys who are now being thrust into minutes where they can be held responsible for wins and losses while still encouraging them to develop and just play the game?
So, it's funny. All young players want playing time, and then you say like, "Oh, with that comes responsibility for wins and losses." Well, I'm not sure if I want that. And it's like, no, it kind of works together. But no, I talked to all our freshmen last week about being both urgent and patient, right? Urgent in your approach, and in the days that you get to come to work, and how focused you have to be, how urgent you have to be with your development, right? And everything you have to learn, because one, you're getting a lot of minutes. Two, you have to improve. But yet also you have to be patient, and you have to look at things like, hey, if you really looked at the numbers, you'd say you're getting a lot of experience that people in your class are not getting. And so you have to be patient and think, hey, I can grow from this, and down the road, this can turn out to be something that's very, very good. You can learn. There's, from these no losing, there's learning. The problem with college basketball now, and I feel good about our group. The problem with college basketball is that a lot of times you spend your time developing guys, then they go do that somewhere else. I spent a lot of time in the gym with Matt Cross, I don't know, like right after COVID, whenever that was. I like to think like his good night tonight, I got something to do with that. So, but that was like a long time ago. You guys were like in 8th grade when that happened.
As a coach, just how are you navigating the tough stretch, and what's the message to your staff on how to just continue on the brand message of what you see for the program?
Yeah, nothing's changed about what I see for the future of the program. In fact, I'm more and more encouraged by, As I've said, our leadership and the commitment, and I think people who have a shared vision of what this could be and understand that this stuff takes time, and especially in this environment that's ever changing. When federal judges are deciding to just change the rules in the middle of our plan, like that usually, could complicate things for everybody. But no, I'm not handling it great. I don't think, like, I'm not happy every day. But I haven't. I'm being urgent and patient as well, and understanding that this may take a little bit longer. UMass had a losing record last year and lost 7 of their last 9. Loyola finished in last last year. Richmond had a losing record last year in the league, and now that they're having great seasons. I'm not saying that there's no guarantees that would be us, but the reality is that's what can happen in college basketball in this day and age. But with the staff, it's, hey, we just got to continue to get better. We got to continue. It's like everything. You got to recruit. We got to have better players. We got to have people that fit what we're all about. And we have some holes that we know we have to fix, and we have to get these younger guys better.
With UMass leaving the conference, I would just love to hear a little bit about your thoughts about that and how that will affect conference play.
I mean, I don't know if it'll affect. I mean, I have friends in Western Massachusetts because I went to school there. I guess I won't see now. So maybe, but I don't think the restaurants will be as good for the UMass people in the Midwest. I mean, you get to go to D.C. and Philadelphia and New York and Chicago and St. Louis. And so, respectfully, I'm not sure some of the towns in the MAC have as good of food. So I would think that would be a big factor for them.
Kalamazoo.
No, I've never been. Yeah.
At this point in the season, it's kind of all eyes are sort of looking towards the tournament as sort of, I don't want to say like a last chance, but it's looking like there's going to be a bit more pressure on the tournament to sort of maybe define the season. Is that sort of a narrative at all in the locker room or anything like that?
Yeah, I think I've told you guys this. Our second to last season at Miami, we had the most injuries in the Power Five, had a few things going on like kind of we do now, and that team sort of was starting to do what we were doing, like kind of play well but not win, but enjoying competing together. And then I think we won our last regular season game at home, and then we go to the ACC tournament, and we beat like Clemson and then Pitt, and then we're like a Jose Alvarado loose ball away from beating Georgia Tech in the quarterfinal. And then the next day we lose, we go home. The next day, COVID breaks out. We would have been in the championship game because I think Virginia got sick. Georgia Tech won. We were supposed to play Virginia. Virginia got sick. Had we gotten the loose ball, which Jose Alvarado's in the NBA, probably for that loose ball alone, if anybody was there was watching that day. But so, like, I've been through that, and that would have been pretty funny. But what happened, and I've told the team this, is you go from that stretch where you're not winning, it ain't fun, all of a sudden it does become fun to compete together. And then you find some winning, even deep in tournament play, which is, whether it's the NCAA tournament or a conference tournament, feels different. Well, what happened for those guys? Well, the guys that stuck around, who had the guts to stick around, they only went to the Elite Eight and then the Final Four after that, right? And so, I think that's what this is like all about. Is like, this is not. None of this is going to be perfect for any of us. We just got to be able to fight through and kind of enjoy the competition. And I don't enjoy losing ever, but I do enjoy competing, even when I think, hey, maybe we're a little bit up against it.
There was a stretch kind of middle of the first half where we started to go on a run.
Yeah.
We've seen it, in other games where you're neck and neck in that first part of the game or whatever part. The team goes on a big run.
Yeah.
What's the kind of strategy, at least tonight, for you guys?
We just have I think I called 2 timeouts in the first half, which may be the first time in my career, maybe. But we just have a hard time guarding. I mean, this is like not, you don't have to have like a super great basketball sense to understand, like, when we're starting guys the size we're starting them, and like their offensive abilities are pretty darn good. Their defensive abilities they're not great. This is not a surprise to anyone. We have a hard time with that, right? Like it's and you're trying to stop the bleeding by doing what? By switching defenses, by playing zone, by coming out of a timeout with a different defense, by changing your pick and roll coverage, doing anything you can, but we're having a hard time with that resistance, at the rim, and then like I thought they got it going in transition. We missed some. When you miss layups, we didn't really miss two layups to start, but some open like paint threes, you miss those. Like those are run out opportunities, right? The old threes rebound long and then they go flying up the court. And so you got to knock a few of those down to try to set your defense. We've also brought the clock down, right? I don't know if you guys realize, like we're not playing at the tempo we were playing at on Martin Luther King Day and before that, right? We're 61 possessions today. I'm trying. We're kind of proud of ourselves there. We're like, hey, we're down to 61 possessions. Give ourselves every chance to, there's a football thing, and Virginia, this applies to them too. You want to play good defense? Play less of it, right? The reason why Virginia is so good defensively is because you're on defense for a long time, right? Blocker, mover, they're just moving the ball side, and then, then their offense is on defense less. So you're doing a little bit of that, and I actually think in the second half it was pretty good.
Any more questions? All right, thanks, Coach.
Thanks.
Thanks, everybody.
See ya.